outfit. Can you just give a little turn to the camera?
The back is the best part.
Back. And he was so chill about it. Dare I say best dressed?
Wow. That would be an honor to be best dressed. This is my favorite suit I've ever worn and probably ever will wear.
You look amazing. This is so cool. Tonight, it's all about you. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
It's really, yeah, I don't really enjoy these events, although this is so lovely. Like, I'm trying to see it as a real celebration, all the fans being here in like the fan pit and just being so excited for a show, like realizing how much this show means to so many people. It's like, makes it feel very special, so I'm very grateful to be here.
Now, season 1 of The Last of Us, you spent it in Alberta. It was your first time shooting out of Europe, actually.
Yeah.
So season 2 was shot in BC. What was it like shooting there for you?
I got to really love Vancouver. I first went over there and wasn't sure, but I was living in downtown and I think downtown living just wasn't for me. And I moved out into a little neighborhood and then I loved it. It's such a nice vibe there and I started to explore the scenery and the nature a bit more towards the end and yeah, absolutely loved it.
It's my hometown. Was it sunny for you or rainy?
Oh, very rainy. The occasional bit of sunshine, but yeah, rainy mostly. But yeah, big up Vancouver and big up BC.
Big up. Now, Bella, this season we're going to see in season 2, it's heavy on the drama. It's darker than season 1. So who out of the cast members kept it light on set?
Oh, Isabella Merced, who's right next to me. Absolutely. She was the joy and the light of set. She just is the life of the party, literally just would rock up with some crazy anecdote or story. Yeah, she really kept it light and breezy. She was amazing.
Everyone keeps saying Isabella.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's no one else.
Last question here, but the scenario of the show is so nightmarish, okay? It's also so captivating. In your mind, Bella, what's it about this post-apocalypse story that keeps the audience coming back wanting more?
I think it's because it's not really about the post-apocalypse. That is the backdrop for a really emotional human story, and I think that's why people keep tuning in. It's because of those relationships, not necessarily because of the infected and the zombies, although that's kind of cool too. I think the combination really works.
We get to see more of Tommy as an uncle in this season, so sometimes teaching... And as a dad. Sometimes teaching Ellie, so sometimes spoiling her, so we want to know, what kind of uncle would you be in real life? Describe it.
Oh man, I'm very much in the same kind of mold as a Tommy Miller. You know, I just my niece and nephew in Romania are just so sweet, and I buy boxes of T-shirts from Target because they got all the cool graphic tees, Batman and all kinds of neat things. So yeah, I'm kind of a spoil 'em rotten type person. And in the show with Ellie, you know, I can see her, the character Ellie, in a way that Joel cannot, as her kind of adoptive father. I think if he could, she'd be a bubble girl and he'd encase her in bubble wrap. But I think I can see her as the warrior she's becoming and trying to equip her with the necessary skills to be able to survive. And I think it's really fun. You know, it also causes a lot of strain between my brother and I. Just to be the go-between between Joel and Ellie is very, causes a lot of tension.
Absolutely. Now, Gabriel, this season, it's heavy on the drama, and it's going to keep getting darker than we see in season 1. So we want to know, on set, out of all the cast members, who is it keeping it light and bright?
I'd say Isabella Merced is just effervescence incarnate. She's just amazing, just really great energy, beautiful singing voice, plays the guitar, plays the ukulele, plays the piano. Caitlin sings beautifully. Bella, I mean, they're an incredible songwriter. I like to play music, and Young plays guitar as well. He was jamming with Young quite a bit. We're all a very musical group, so I think music kind of permeates through the entire process, and I think it serves the piece really well.
Abby's journey takes you as a young actor to some dark places.
Yeah.
So how do you decompress from that?
Bubble baths, a lot of bubble baths. I was coming home very sore from all of the stunts that I had to do on the show, and just doing mindfulness practices and meditating when I can, and just going with the flow. I think that's the best thing I could do.
Epsom salts?
Oh yeah, for sure. My muscles were desperate for it.
Absolutely. Now this season, Caitlin, it's heavy on the drama and it's getting darker than what we're going to be seeing in season 1. So who's that cast member that kept it light and bright on set?
Pedro. And Ariella Barrera, who plays Mel in the show. Ariella, I've known her since I was 11 years old. We did our my first movie together. I was 11 years old when we worked together for the first time. Yeah.
What would Pedro do to keep it light?
Huh?
What would Pedro do to keep it light?
Just like totally, like, it doesn't take everything so seriously. He keeps everything light. He jokes around. We made fun of each other. Like, it was the best. I've never worked with an actor like him before. He's very special to me.
When I met Bella for the first time, we met up outside Vancouver and we got on a tiny little seaplane and we went flying over the islands, and there was so much turbulence. And after that moment, everything else seemed a little less intense, because it was a pretty rickety ride.
Once you connect in a seaplane, there's no going back.
Once you lock eyes with just absolute dread and fear, it alleviates a lot of the other symptoms of pressure on a set. Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, well, I'm glad you guys made it out all in one piece.
Yeah, it was a nice view.
There you go. Now, this season is very heavy on the drama, okay? So it's going to get darker than what we saw in season 1. So who out of the cast members was kind of that light on set of this one?
Probably Isabella Merced. Just a ray of sunshine. No matter how dark and crazy the set got, Isabella is always like such a ray of light. Yeah, brought it out of everyone else. Yeah.
Last question here before I let you go enjoy your night, but the show, like the game, it's all about survival, okay? So what are your top 3 things you need to survive on The Last of Us Season 2 set?
Some waterproof or water-resistant clothes, because you get wet a lot. A sense of humor and a guitar. I think a guitar was so important on set. We were jamming, we had kumbaya sessions all the time.
What were your survival needs for The Last of Us Season 2 on set?
Tim Hortons. Needed some Tim Hortons to start the day. What else? I was also on a weird diet, so like boring ass food. Sorry, I can't say ass on air. Boring ass food and Tim Hortons. So that was my flavor. It was my fuel too, honestly. So I needed fuel and then I needed some food.
What in specific at Tim Hortons?
I'm a classic black coffee guy. Yeah. I don't get funky with it. I had a phase when I was in college that I had funky drinks, but now it's literally just black coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, which is chaotic, and I'm sorry, and don't judge me.
Last question here, but we're getting more infected than season 1, okay? So we're gonna see more stalkers, so I have to ask, 1 stalker or 3 clickers, and what would be your preferable scenario?
1, just because there's ambushing is really my fear, right? When I'm not able to capture everything in my, like spiders, for instance. Like, they scare me because there's you don't know where they are. And so this idea of 3 or multiple is a little bit harder to conceptualize than just 1. So I'd go 1 over 3, which is crazy, but whatever.
The settlement is growing in the new season. Tell me about the differing perspectives of Maria and Joel on the growth.
You know, I think Maria is very protective of the community, but she's also trying to save as many endangered people as she can. And her and Joel are working on that together. I know we were kind of at odds the first season, so now we're sort of working together. And I think she's just trying to make sure that anyone who needs to be in our camp can be, because outside of the Jackson walls is like a crazy world.
I'm not a gamer.
Now, obviously, this season,
Watched the whole first season.
the sun.
Clutching my pearls.
This season obviously is very heavy on the drama, and it's getting darker than we've seen in season 1. So we want to know on set who keeps it light out of all the cast members. Who would you say?
I would say Gabe, because he likes to play the guitar and sing songs, so he keeps it light for sure.
In the past, you've stated don't bet on there being more of The Last of Us, but are you now open to explore more of this world in another game or live action series?
I guess I'll say it's, you know, every game I make, every project I work on, I treat it like it could be my last. So I just pour everything into it. I leave nothing on the table. When we did the first Last of Us game, that's how I treated it. I was like, I wasn't sure I could ever get to make a sequel, so it had to have a definitive ending. Likewise, when I worked on Uncharted 4, same thing. When I worked on Last of Us 2, I was like, I don't know if I'll ever get to do this again. It had this definitive ending. That is the ending we're working towards. For there to be another one, another thing, another project, so many stars have to align. I can't guarantee it. So right now, my focus is on this season. Hopefully, if HBO renews us next season, and then I'm working on a new game called Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet.
Okay, that's awesome. That's a good way to put it, though. One project at a time, that's for sure.
One project at a time. Got to make it the best it could be. And then if I get a chance to do it again, I'll focus on the next project.
There you go. Now let's talk about the video game. In the video game, Abby was made out to play more like Joel, but as characters in the show, you see any parallels between Abby and Joel?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even between Abby, Joel, Ellie, like those are these three characters that are going to highly influence one another and affect one another. And the thing that they share is they're driven by love. They care a lot for the people close to them, and they are they're incredibly just driven. They're almost obsessed with their goal, and what those goals are and how they shift and change. That's part of the fun of watching the season.
Absolutely. Now, Last of Us Season 1 was shot in Alberta, Last of Us Season 2 in British Columbia. Why was British Columbia the perfect set for Season 2 of Last of Us?
Well, one, it's just Vancouver is just a beautiful city. It was nice to be there and just like stay there while we shot these episodes. But two is Seattle plays a big role in this season, and Vancouver does a good job of doubling for Seattle. But also, we just love Canada. We had such a good time shooting there. I'm actually a Canadian citizen. My parents used to live there, so there was no reason not to go back there. It's like someone would have to convince us pretty hard not to shoot in Canada again.
The show, like the game, is all about survival. So what were the top 3 things you needed to survive on the Last of Us Season 2 set?
Last of Us Season 2 set, little Celsius energy drink. Definitely loads of crafty, too much sometimes. And a book, a good book.
Shout out Celsius.
Shout out Celsius.
Now, we are getting more infected this season. We're going to see some stalkers, so I got to ask, 1 stalker or 3 clickers? And what would be your preferable scenario?
I think 1 stalker. I think 3 clickers is asking for a lot of trouble, and I'm not good at being silent. So I need, I need a one-on-one, mano-a-mano sort of situation. Yeah.
I agree with you. That's funny. Last question here, but the scenario of the show is so nightmarish, okay? So it's also so captivating as well to the fans. In your mind, Spencer, what is it about the post-apocalypse story that keeps the audience coming back and craving The Last of Us?
Honestly, I think it's just it's the interpersonal stuff. Like, it's just so beautifully written, and Craig just does a wonderful job of making all of the characters so relatable, and all of the interplay between them so relatable. So I think it's just a human story.
Dina and Ellie, okay, become so close in this season. So tell me about the first interaction with Bella on the journey of making Season 2.
My interaction with Bella came after my casting, when they cast me, and it was at a brunch at some brunch spot in LA, and it was with Craig too, and yeah, it was all 3 of us. It was really nice.
Beautiful. Now this season's heavy on the drama, and it's gonna get darker than Season 1, okay? So who in the cast is that member on set that keeps it light?
Me. Yeah, me.
Actually, someone did say that today.
Yeah, it is me.
What do you do to keep it light?
I don't know. I just don't take it too seriously, because at the end of the day, we're just playing pretend, and making the most out of everything. Yeah, I think as long as you don't take it too seriously, it's still, it can be the purest form of art, you know?
Absolutely. Now, shooting in beautiful BC, why do you think that was a perfect set for season 2 of Last of Us?
I mean, it's just got so much beauty and variety and regional, it's stunning. It's stunning. And all of BC, like you can have a variety of mountains and then the coast and then the city and it really just gave us everything we needed. Yeah.
Last question here. The show, like the game, is all about survival. So we want to know, what were the top 3 survival things that you needed to survive on the Last of Us set this season?
Some beef sticks. I love a beef stick. My dog, Bonbon. She was there the whole time. Like, she was there supporting me in the cast. She was everyone's dog on set, for sure.
We love an emotional support dog.
Yeah, I'm her emotional support human, but like, we need each other, you know?
Isabella mentioned that you guys had a party halfway through shooting called The Middle of Us. So tell me about setting that up.
So one of the things about Isabella is she comes up with an idea. When Isabella comes up with an idea, I just go, yeah. She says, hey, let's have a big party in the middle of the production. I'm like, okie dokie, and we did. Look at this ray of sunshine. Everything she does, she just smiles like that. And I'm like, all right, I guess we're doing it.
I said, put on a wig and direct this episode.
Yeah. I'm like the dad that just does whatever his kid says.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
It was a great idea, and she's always thinking about the crew, which is amazing. And so it was so nice to give everybody a chance to celebrate what we were doing while we were doing it.
Absolutely, and it lightens it up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, season 1 was shot in Alberta. Season 2 was shot in British Columbia. Why would you say British Columbia was a perfect set for season 2?
Well, we actually did shoot a little bit in Alberta this time too. Alberta is an amazing setting for a lot of what we would call Rocky Mountains, of course, or in Alberta, Wyoming. But so much of our season this time takes place in Seattle, and obviously Vancouver and Seattle are kissing cousins. They're right there.
Absolutely, same weather. But last question here. The scenario of the show is so nightmarish, but it's also so captivating as well. In your mind, Craig, what is it about the post-apocalypse story that just keeps having the audience come back for more?
I think people like seeing that no matter how bad things are, we can make it. It will pressurize everything. All the things we feel, love and fear and hatred and desire, all get amplified because the stakes are always so high. But it does remove a lot of things. We don't have to worry about people on cell phones, iPads, the internet, credit cards. And we just get down to the human basics.
Soon with your work with Neil continues as you lead in Intergalactic. What excites you about being the badass bounty hunter Jordan?
Oh wow, so much. One, I think just being able to play the character that I wanted to be when I was a kid playing a video game, and like being able to see that this strong woman that is going to go through her own trials and tribulations, and I'm so bad at spoilers, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but just playing this really strong woman that's on her own and willing to get through anything. I'm really excited for the way that that's going to challenge me. I'm excited to be able to put that out into the world, and
What were the top 3 things you needed to survive in The Last of Us Season 2 set?
The number one thing was definitely the electric clothing. It was very, very cold out. So we were layered up in 10 layers of electric vests and stuff. That's the number one. You know what? That's all 3. Electric vest, hat, socks. Yeah.
Shooting in BC, how was that for you?
Oh, it was beautiful. Yeah, it was really lovely. The production traveled around a lot, and we got some warm weather, some more wintry weather. We got kind of the whole tour. It was beautiful.
Most beautiful place in the world, but not biased. Now, we're getting more infected this season, so we're gonna see more stalkers, so I gotta ask, 1 stalker or 3 clickers? What would be the preferable scenario there?
I mean, I don't know that there's a preferable scenario there. Maybe clickers, they're more predictable, I think, yeah.
In the video game, Abby was made out to play more like Joel, but as the characters in the show are shown, do you see any parallels between Joel and Abby?
Oh, 1,000%, right? Both of them are dealing, I'm trying to think about how I can answer this while still being super cagey. But I think they, as characters, are dealing with the trauma that they've experienced in such a hostile environment, and how that has defined how they can love, and how that damages their ability to love and makes them face themselves, really. I think Abby's is ultimately a story of growth in the same way that Ellie allowed Joel to grow, right?
So beautifully said. Now, season 1, you guys shot in Alberta. Season 2, you guys shot in beautiful British Columbia, okay? So what made it the perfect province for season 2?
Well, Vancouver's amazing in a million ways. The people are amazing, the food is amazing, the landscape is amazing, but the landscape really honored the Seattle that we had in the game, and you feel that lush life. And Vancouver just sparkles. Yeah.
I agree. It's my hometown. I love it so much. Last question here, but the scenario of the show is so nightmarish as we describe it, okay? But it's also very captivating as well. So in your mind, why do you think this post-apocalypse story has just resonated with the audience and they keep coming back?
I think it really makes us focus on what's important, right? And what we would do. And the world does feel scary. The world does feel hostile. And it really makes you dig down and look toward the people you love the most and the things that you prioritize. I think the characters are super relatable, and they're fighting for love in a way that I think we're all trying to fight for love.
Like the video? Then hit the button, or better yet, drop us a comment. Then check out our latest videos here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button here for more celebrity interviews and entertainment news.